guys, it's Misty here. So welcome to all the things. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to name this video or title this video, I should say, but I do know that the keto part of it will be at the very last. So I will try to remember to put a timestamp down in the description box below so that you can just fast forward to that point, or I'll put it up on the screen. I don't really know yet. So you may you may see a little gray kitty cat back here. This is the world's smallest window, but she loves it for some reason. So let me catch you up to speed. If you're new here, this is a companion channel to the Jolly Fat Elf and Now Planning with the Elf. So I have two other channels. I started this channel a couple of years ago. That's kind of when I started my whole weight loss journey, I guess you could say. Well, let's rephrase that. This incantation or incarnation of a weight loss journey. And I've been really sporadic since then, but I started a ketogenic way of eating on March 6th, which is the update that I will do at the end of this video. But of note, mostly the biggest part of my life the last 6-8 months has been a struggle with muscle weakness. I went to bed in October fine, woke up the next morning muscle weakness, and it's progressively gotten worse, and I've undergone a crap ton of testing, and we finally narrowed it down to 2 possible diagnoses, but I think we all agree on 1. So I have muscular dystrophy, and more specific, I have my myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which was one of the ones we talked about early in this journey. I think several people mentioned it in the comments. I thought all the doctors had ruled it out. But if you guys remember, I had a second opinion with a neurologist from Columbia in New York who suggested that I see a neurologist who subspecializes in neuromuscular diseases, disorders. Jesus, I cannot talk today. Neuromuscular diseases or disorders, and I needed to have a single fiber nerve conduction study done. So that appointment happened exactly a week ago. It was last Wednesday, June 28th. And I woke up nervous as heck, super high anxiety, super anxious, because I knew what to expect because I'd had 2 of these before. And Roxy moved and I'm petting her. I knew what to expect as far as testing went, but I was really the next step, if we didn't get a diagnosis with this doctor, was the Mayo Clinic. And that, for some reason, I felt the same way as when I went on insulin after being diabetic for a few years. It was like, oh, okay. We're getting to the part where it's super serious, and, I don't know what to do. I just felt like I didn't know what to do. So Rob went with me, and I don't know what happened, but there was a mix-up with scheduling, and she and I were scheduled only for testing, not a consult. The minute she told me that, I started crying in her office, because I was like, okay, I've waited, I didn't get any sleep the night before. I've waited how many weeks for this appointment, and who the hell screwed up and didn't book a consult? This is supposed to be my new neurologist. That's what all this was about. But we talked as she did the test, and she's one of those people that, you can read me like a book. I could never play poker. I think I've said that before, because I wear my thoughts and my emotions on my face. That fix your face. I've had people tell me, you need to fix your face because I just wear all of it. And so she was kind of the same way, except she had little ticks or noises that she made. And I knew probably within the first 3 or 4 minutes that something wasn't right, or that she had found something And that suspicion was confirmed when she said that it's something. And I said, well, do you have any idea what it is? And then she started grilling me about eye drooping and all this other stuff. And I was like, listen, I said, I've noticed over the last 8, 9, 10 months that one eye is significantly smaller than the other. And I think it's my left eye. I don't know if you can tell because I have makeup on. I said, but I know that your eyes can do that as you age. And I said, plus I have eye hoodies. So my eyes are already hooded and it already looks droopy to me. And then she asked about dry mouth. I've had dry mouth. She asked about vision issues. She asked about all of these things. And I know it was because she wanted to know if I was displaying all of the symptoms of myasthenia gravis and not just the muscle weakness. So she called in her tech, who was absolutely amazing. She was just so calming and gentle and just so, like, I wish she could be my personal nurse and just go everywhere with me because she was just so good. She put me at ease. Told her that before I left. I was like, thank you so much. I was like, you made this appointment so much easier on me because of just your demeanor and stuff like that. So she was really awesome. So she brought her in to do repetitive testing, which is where they shock you so many times, so many reps. So we did 60 shocks on my face, and then she did 60 shocks on my shoulder, 6 shocks, 10 reps. And by that last one on my face, I was about ready to call it a day. So then the doctor came in and she said it's either myasthenia gravis or it's Lambert-Eaton. So the difference in the two is that with myasthenia gravis, it's kind of my symptoms where I wake up in the morning and I have some abilities, but by the end of the day, my muscles are spent. Lambert-Eaton is kind of the exact opposite from what I've read. If you have Lambert-Eaton and if you want to, tell us if I'm wrong in the comments, please feel free to do so. This is just what I've read and the research that I've done. It's kind of the opposite. You start out really weak, and then as you do more, your muscles get stronger. I had never heard of Lambert-Eaton. I had heard of myasthenia gravis because, of course, several of you have mentioned it. I've mentioned it. My regular doctor mentioned it. So I wouldn't say that I wasn't concerned about that, but I was more concerned about getting to the lobby where I was going to go have my blood drawn and looking up Lambert-Eaton. So she said that she wanted to start me on a drug called I don't know if Mesodin or Mistonin. And she said that she was going to send all that to my doctor who I was seeing this past Monday, the 3rd. And I was like, okay, I said, I see my doctor on the 3rd. I said, is he going to have paperwork? I said, or should I push the doctor appointment out? She's like, oh no, he'll have everything. So anyway, so she sends us for blood work. I make an appointment for the end of the month. So I go see her again at the end of the month. But she said that if I started that medication and I saw a difference, then we had the answer. But let me kind of keep going forward here. So we go to the lobby upstairs to have blood drawn, and I type in Lambert-Eaton and I lost it. And because 40% of people who are diagnosed with Lambert-Eaton either have already been diagnosed with cancer, are diagnosed with cancer, or get diagnosed with cancer within 2 years of a diagnosis. And you guys know about that protein marker that no one can seem to explain. That is a marker for cancer. And COPD. So the cancer that most people have with Lambert-Eaton is small cell lung cancer. So I just started crying in the lobby of the phlebotomist lobby or whatever, and Rob's like, what is the matter? And I was like, I just couldn't tell him. How does a wife tell her husband that she may have cancer? I mean, it's bad enough for a husband to think that his wife may have muscular dystrophy, and it's a whole other thing to think that she may have cancer on top of it. So I went and had my blood drawn, and then we left. Before we went anywhere that morning, I couldn't eat. I was so, like I said, just nervous and anxious, and I was really scared if I ate, I was going to throw up or be sick to my stomach, and I didn't want either of those things to happen. So he's like, well, where are you going to want to go eat? And I said, this is what I want to do. I said, we know that today we are either going to get, news that we have to go to a different doctor, we have to go to Minnesota. I said, or we're going to get a diagnosis or a potential diagnosis. I said, I want to spend, don't cry. I'm not wearing waterproof mascara. I want to spend one day, just one day. There's nothing wrong with me. So, I'm not diabetic and I don't have muscular dystrophy, that everything is fine and I can eat what I want and I can do what I want and I'm fine. So, once we got the news from the doctor, I told him I wanted a watermelon margarita. Honestly, I wanted to get shit-faced drunk, but we got there and I was like, I think I'm gonna order another one. He's like, well, I have to be able to get you to the car. And I was like, fine. But I had a margarita, I had chips and queso with salsa, and I had some empanadas, and I got in the pool that night and I swam as much as I could, and I just spent the day as if nothing was wrong with me. So, Thursday was, as far as the keto update, let me throw a little bit of that in here. Last week was week 17. Monday, I wasn't on plan. I don't remember being on plan on Tuesday. I wasn't on plan on Wednesday. I've been on a plan since then. Monday, we got a new tankless water heater, and when I asked Rob if we were going to be without water, he said no, but we were. And they weren't done until 8 p.m. So we went out to eat, and by that time, I was hungry. I was dehydrated because we weren't drinking anything, because we didn't want to have to leave to go to the restroom. And I had a bunless burger with some tater tots. And then I can't even remember what Tuesday happened. And then Wednesday, like I said, I had On the Border. That's the only thing I ate that day. I didn't eat anything else, but that was enough. And then, of course, I've been on plan the rest of the week. I've been really strict keto this week. I think yesterday I was over my protein by 10, and today I've only eaten once, and I'm full. I don't think I'll have dinner. And if I have anything, it'll just be some macadamia nuts, or I have some guacamole. So I'll just have some fatty foods. I'm at 406. I can't remember if that's down a pound or up a pound, but I really thought I would be 415 or so, but I wasn't. So that's kind of the keto update. So Monday, which was the 3rd, I had my doctor's appointment with my doctor, and he didn't have anything. He's like, all I got from her office was, he's like, he didn't even know who I saw. He didn't even know who I'd saw. Oh my word. He didn't even know who the doctor was. So I, gave him her name, and he's like, I know that you're on the waiting list if there's a cancellation. So we talked about the drug that she had mentioned, and he was like, melatonin, because I was like, it's me-tonin. And he's like, it's not melatonin. I was like, well, I know it's not melatonin. I know what that is. So finally he figured it out, because he started naming off, there's 3 drugs. There's 3 pills that are used to treat myasthenia gravis, and he started naming them off, and he's like, and then we both kind of realized that he needed to look at the brand name rather than generic, and he found it. So he prescribed the lowest dose, which is 30 milligrams 3 times a day. I have to take it every 4 hours or so. And when she first said that I would have 4 hours, she said, 4 good hours. You'll have 4 good hours. And I was like, okay, I can handle 4 hours out of the day. But that's not necessarily what she meant. After the pill, I would have 4 good hours. So I started it Monday afternoon. And he said that within 15 or 30 minutes of taking the pill, if it's myasthenia gravis, if, we're on the right path, then I would feel a difference. And I did. And Rob's like, do you feel different? I was like, I don't know if I feel different or I just want to feel different. Like, I don't know. So I took it one more time that night. And then I woke up Tuesday, which was July 4th, and I took a pill. And I filmed all day long. And I was taking my pill pretty regularly. And it helped so much. I've been functioning at probably about 55 to 60% on a good day. And it made it at least 50% better. So, like I mentioned, I'm on the lowest dose. The highest dose is like 600 milligrams. So I'm going to finish taking kind of the starter this week with the 90 milligrams, and then I can bump up to 120 milligrams per day. So while it's not curable, it's manageable. And he mentioned that I'm only his second patient out of the last 15 years to have it, but the other lady that has it has had it for 30 years. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel better, because it can be really scary. And, I tell Rob all the time, we're really blessed that we live where we do, because we are less than 2 minutes from the hospital, because you could have what they call a critical event. And that's where, from what I understand, the muscles in your chest and your stop working and you can't breathe. And you end up in like ICU, like organ failure, all this stuff. So, and if you don't take care of that really quickly, you could pass away. So, yeah. So like I said, there are 3 prescriptions that I can take. He said they're all the same class of drug. They just, you never know how you're going to react to one over the other. If that doesn't work, I've read some other treatment is immune suppression therapy, and they either do that with IV medication. You could have a plasma transfusion. Yeah. And then I think like the last treatment of it is they remove your thymus. I think that's what's called, thymus. So I've battled, I've experienced every emotion over the last week, from being pissed that people weren't catching it, to being relieved that we finally know, and being elated that it's treatable, because that's what I've been saying. I don't care if I have to take a pill or a shot for the rest of my life. As long as it's treatable and as long as I get some results, I will be a happy camper. And to hear that it couldn't be treatable and it can even go into remission is just like, it's probably the best news. It's like the best news you could get in this situation. So I'm sad because I have it. Like I said, happy because, I thought in the next few months I was going to be in a wheelchair, paralyzed, because it was getting to that point. Just to know that it wasn't in my head, which I knew it wasn't, but, just when nobody was finding anything, it's easy. And plus comments from assholes on the internet will make you question your own sanity sometimes. And so just knowing that it's not in my head, and it's something, and it's treatable, and I've just been so happy and sad and everything at the same time. I asked my doctor, I said, well, what happened? What did I eat? What bit me? Like, what happened? And he said, it's really basically just bad luck. And I was like, well, hell, that's definitely me. I mean, I've fallen out of the shower and almost broken my elbow. I've had a staph infection. I just have all these things that have led up to sort of this. So I kind of gave myself the weekend to just kind of just relax and spend some time with my husband, and just pretend that things were fine and things were normal. And then the last couple of days, I've really thrown myself into research. I don't have my phone. I joined a group on Facebook called Keto for Neuro, and it's all about, you know, healing your brain using the ketogenic diet. I've read some things about, I want to say it's called the Warhol protocol. This doctor who had basically was curing herself of her MS or put it in remission, did a TED talk about kind of what she was eating and what she was doing to treat her, you know, her disorder. And I've heard a lot of people who've had success with that. So I'm going to order the book off Amazon, and I'm going to do some research onto that. I told Rob that, like on Wednesday, when I didn't know if it was cancer or not, I said, I'm not feeding this. I'm not going to feed it. So I knew right then and there that I was going to be strict keto. I'm cutting out anything that's not whole out of my diet. Today was my first day without soda. Again, I've done this in the past, but I'm permanently giving up soda. I am still using stevia, but I'm not going to use any other kind of artificial sweeteners. You know, just making sure I'm getting a fattier diet. I've read a lot about that, you know, people with neuro issues really need more fat in their diet. So I'm going to focus on, I did that yesterday. Like I had more fat yesterday than I have the whole entire time I've been on keto, I think. So I'm really trying to make sure that every little bit helps. I'm leery of starting any kind of supplements. I have read that there are a few that help with myasthenia gravis, but I'm really leery of starting anything until I talk to the neurologist. And that happens on the 28th of the month. So yeah. So this week I'm filming my meals. I didn't film on Monday because I got home from work late and we had some things to do. So Rob and I just decided to get in and out. But I had a protein wrapped burger, protein style. So it's wrapped in lettuce. I got meat, cheese, and onion. I don't get spread. I don't get tomatoes. So it's pretty low carb. In fact, I think I only had 8 carbs on Monday. Is that right? I don't remember. I think I logged it. I don't remember. I logged yesterday. I vlogged today. So yeah, I think I mentioned that I just don't. Oh, that I'm like, why does this all sound familiar? I filmed this video. I filmed this video the other day and I went to upload it so you guys would have it, and it was fuzzy, and I hope this is not fuzzy. If this is fuzzy, I'm gonna be mad. I think it's not fuzzy. I hope it's not fuzzy. If it's fuzzy, I'm sorry, but I'm not retelling all this again. I'm not gonna do it. So I'm not gonna weigh in. I'm gonna weigh every week, every other week to kind of keep myself on track. I do want to see a number. I want to see 399 so bad. I can't stand it. So I've just, like I said, I have a renewed sense of urgency, not necessarily urgency, but I want to help myself get better. And I can do that by what I choose to put in my body, what I choose to use as nutrition. So yeah, I'm still going to post weekly updates. This is week 18, and tomorrow, which is the 6th, is my official 4 months. I haven't lost a whole shit ton of weight, but at least I have a diagnosis. It's like, yay, finally I know I can work on it. And like I said, it just gives me a little boost of energy, and I'm trying to kind of plan my day around that. Like I take it at 9, so that's after I've gotten to work. I take it again, you know, right before lunch or right after lunch, 1 o'clock, and then I take it again at 5. So it gives me a good 2 hours right now after that to where somebody's like, well, what is it? What do you feel? And I'm like, I just feel less. I don't know how to describe it, because before it just felt like my arms were heavy, like I'd been carrying the only thing I've ever been able to describe it as is if you've ever moved in Texas or even Oklahoma or somewhere in the South in summer, August, Labor Day weekend, it's 114, 85% humidity, and you've carried boxes for 12 hours and you're just worn out. That's what it's felt like. So I'm hoping that I can grow my hair back out, and I'm hoping that my hair will grow back. I hope that I will be able to do more in the pool, exercise more. I've been trying to push myself to do a full 30 minutes. That was a mistake last night. I wasn't quite ready. And like I told Rob, I was like, I'm pushing myself but we're talking about a second day. It's the second day. It's okay. It's okay. I can let the medicine, get in my system and take effect. So yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Like I said, it's between those two. She basically said if the medication worked, that it's myasthenia gravis, which is a neuromuscular junction disorder, which is crazy because that's what the first neurologist said. And I really discredited him because it was a 10-minute appointment. Who knows? But, it's an autoimmune response. I mean, it's just, yeah, it is what it is. So I know, and I'm ready to tackle it and move forth. So, my goal for the next time I talk to you, which will probably be Monday, is to have 5, what is that? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 6 good days without soda. I'm drinking, I don't know why I'm picking this up to show you. I'm using my hydro flask, and I have just Ozarka plain sparkling water with the stevia water drops, water enhancer. The strawberry kiwi one is really good. Stevia is my favorite. Oh no. Well, friends, that was the alarm for my 5 o'clock pill. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this video wasn't completely all over the place. Thank you for everyone who's been so helpful and positive and has been so super supportive. You guys mean the world to me, and I really appreciate it. I know it's not going to be an easy road ahead of me, but I feel just so much better knowing what to expect. So I will see you later this week or early next week. Bye for now.